But yeah, this was in fact my first page introduction, but after the wonderful presentation by the keynote this morning, I changed to this one. This is just to chill you down a little bit in the audience, because this is from 2 months ago in the north part of Sweden. And we had down to minus 15 degrees during the night when I was tenting in our ski trip. Just to compare that with the keynote, who has been living and working at Vostok. I don't know whether you know that place, but they are really the coldest place on Earth. We're talking about minus 72 degrees. When it's summer in Antarctica, in Vostok, we're talking about minus 35 or something. So minus 15 is like, yes, Hawaii. Yes, okay. My name is Dag Lundén. I work as environmental manager within Telia. Telia is a quite large telecom operator in the Scandinavian region, Nordic Baltics. And as a part of my work as environmental manager, I have had the privilege to work also part-time as a researcher. And I've published quite a number of papers regarding ICT footprint and lifecycle assessment, often in collaboration with my dear colleague Jens Malmodin, as you have already met, and Pernilla Bergmark and Nina Lovehagen, among others. And we have a undefined connection also to the Royal Institute of Technology. We are in the same city. So. Okay, the task here of the presentation more or less focus on 3 things that we have been. This is this article that we have published. Sorry, I need to change the glasses. Yes, we have been able, and our first, Maurice presented a first study from, and also referred to us, that was very, very nice, thank you. There have been a challenge within the industry to collect and publish data that is really of essence for your future research in the academia, to see the actual footprint. And by that, you have been forced to try to model the actual consumption, the actual carbon footprint. And we have seen in the industry that these figures have been a little bit overestimated, to put it lightly. So here we have tried to collect data. This is a continuing work that we've been doing since 1996 forward, based on life cycle assessment. And what we have found during the last studies, and this was also partly presented at the Toronto ICT4S conference in Toronto for the period 2010 to 2015, were that, yes, we had a slight increase CO2 footprint, the increase in electricity consumption, and the CO2 footprint was more or less flat. But what we see now among the operators, that these operators is more or less, or everybody is a member of the European Telecommunicator Association. That is a joint association to keep all operators collaborate as a how to say it, just to have a common view and discussions towards, for instance, the EU Commission. We have through them been able to collect quite much of detailed data that we have been allowed to aggregate and share with you. And now in this study, we are also able to name them, so you know which operators that has been collected, where data comes from. However, it's aggregated, so we are not allowed to reveal individual figures, but there are some individual figures as well picked up from the annual reports as well. So there are some, I will come to that further on. That said, electricity consumption is flat, has been flat. CO2 emissions are going down among the operators, and third but not least, data continues to increase. And here's slightly background. As I said, we have really looked into these areas and tried also to use our networks and to collect the data, and also our background within the industry. You can question whether we are compromised or not. Me and Jens, we have tried to be quite transparent in what we are doing, as well as try to be quite open. But of course, we are financed by the industry. So yes, I have my salary from Telia, and Jens from Ericsson, as well as Nina and Pernilla. But whether that make us less credible than other stakeholders? I can't tell. That's up to you to decide. I strongly recommend you not only to read the article, but also download the supplement, because there is a supplement to this article that contains quite much of very detailed data. So if you want to dig in further, as the nerds that I assume that you all are in the numbers, please do download. And if you find something that seems intriguing or to be questioned, or if you just want to criticize us, please reach out, because we are really open for that kind of discussions. Okay, and here is a favorite quote from my side, and that is taken from Lord Kelvin. If you measure things that you know something, you can model and try to assume things, but then you might have a sense of understanding. But measurement, sorry to say, gives probably the best understanding and also a sound transparency. Percy Barnevik has said that what gets measured gets done, and I'm quite, I can say that I agree and follow totally. What we have included here is European operators. We're talking about 36% of all subscription within Europe. Then you can start think of how to define Europe. And that this study was performed during Brexit, so that we had another obstacle. But we have integrated them as well, so UK are there, as well as Norway, Switzerland, and other, I mean, really, so we have defined, we have a new that many of these operators has also overseas operation. South America, Asia, Telenor is big in Southeast Asia. Telefonica is extremely big in South America. Telecom Italia, they have a quite large enterprise in Brazil, for instance. So I mean, they're quite big impact. We have also included them in our study. We had tried to differentiate the figures in between Europe and overseas, so we find these figures in the report. Please read it. It's not part of this presentation, but we're talking about the infrastructure of every service that are provided on the European market, you say. And 36% we have been able to collect 36%. Sorry to say, this is back to Orange and other French operators, no material received from our French operators, and that is a pity. I would really have loved to have them with us here, because that would have increased the trustworthiness of this article. Sorry. Yes, I continue. Here you see the renewable electricity production. Looking at the actual then footprint, as you see, local-based CO2 emissions has been more or less flat. Market-based, yes, going down, due to the fact that this ICT sector is really the biggest single sector to invest in renewable electricity for far. Going into details here, you can see the trends for this period. Fixed PSTN, as well as fixed broadband connectivity via copper-based going down. Mobile sector, as you see, aggregated goes up. Our internal data center operations, quite flat. There are some other numbers here. Offices, there have been some internal efficiencies here as well that has really decreased the energy consumption on these sites. But this, I would say, is probably the best figure, because here we have also aggregated the figures from 2010 until 2020 in comparison for the electricity consumption versus data and we have aggregated for all these operators. And as you can see, electricity from an index perspective, we have really indexed all figures here just to anonymize, harmonize, to see that everybody is treated equally. We see that the electricity consumption has been more or less flat at the same time as the data just booming up in the sky. So, summary. If you should remember anything, yes, Vostok is a chilly place. But for the rest, I would say network side is not increasing their footprint, neither from electricity nor CO2 emissions. I would say it's the opposite, at least for European operators. For the full ICT sector, that is still a peer review paper that is in the peer review process. So there will be a 2015, 2020 paper for the full ICT sector that is to be published when the peer review process, but that's to come. And for the rest, I will say, yep, that was all. Thank you.